So guys, we're back with another Ford Crown Victoria video, and this is actually the last Crown Vic video I will be doing before the winter time hits, as the car is getting stored away in the garage starting tomorrow. So last full day it's on the road, which is kind of sad. So I decided I'm going to do a full video review of the Crown Victoria Police Interceptor model. I did do one quite a long time ago on the civilian model, but I feel like now that I've owned this thing for quite a long time, well, not a long time, but a decent amount of time, that the Crown Vic P71 deserves a review, and maybe you guys will get a few comparisons. So let's get started. So I'm going to try to do this review as fairly as possible, keeping in mind that this vehicle has really not been updated that much since 2003, since they did the last major update on these cars. So the first thing we're going to jump into on this review is the styling of the Crown Victoria P71. So obviously it's old school, but in reviewing this, most people that buy these cars enjoy the old school style and ride. So while there definitely could have been a few updates, we're going to give the styling for this vehicle a solid 4 out of 5. I have seen some designs that people have done through Photoshop and whatnot that have made the Crown Vics look great with 2013 styling or newer, and made the cars just look awesome. Unfortunately, these cars have not been made since 2011. So overall, with the 17-inch steel wheels, the blacked out rear end that I like a lot more than the civilian models, and then you up front, you also have the grille, which is blacked out, and the handles that are synonymous with the P71. I definitely enjoyed the blacked out look a lot more than the LX Chrome. So like I said, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 here. Obviously there is room for improvement as it is an older design, but I still don't think it looks too bad, and it has a very unique shape and look in today's world. The next thing we're going to talk about is durability. Durability on the Crown Victoria is very, very good, but like most vehicles, it does have its weak points, and certainly weak points that Ford could have updated throughout the years. The cars are known for somewhat tedious transmissions, especially the ones that were police cars. Even the ones that are sometimes administrative cars, you still got to watch for a little bit. They are known for somewhat hiccupy transmissions. I know civilian models have a tendency to have a lot less problems because they haven't been a police car. Then on top of that, you have the intake manifold, and not to mention this digital cluster where the odometer like to go on a lot of cars. Like that odometer right there, the first thing that'll do, it'll start dimming, and then it'll eventually go out, and then the rest of your gauge cluster will disappear with it, and you'll end up having to get your gauge cluster rebuilt or get a new one from Ford. I'd probably suggest rebuilding it so you keep your idle hours and all that stuff the same, which this vehicle has very low idle hours at 193. So Crown Victoria, very solid car, but it does have its downfalls. And another thing I forgot to mention too is the blend door actuator, which is way in behind here, is a pain to replace. Bare minimum, you're looking at a couple hours. So because of these things that Ford could have updated to make it more reliable, we're going to give it a 4 out of 5, maybe 4.5 out of 5, because like I said, overall the car is very reliable. These engines will run forever. It'll probably be the last thing to ever break on the car. But because the intake manifold, the odometer, blend door actuator, and then a couple other small little things here and there that can happen that are common for the Crown Vics, heater core is another one, I'm going to have to not give it a full-blown score, but I'm probably going to have to give it a 4 out of 5 there as well. The next thing I wanted to talk about was comfort. Obviously, these cars don't have a whole lot of features, but that also makes them a pleasure to drive. So right here is about as advanced as it gets with a power seat, and got some nice rubber floors down there, easy to clean up, and then actually very thick cloth seats. You won't find better seats in almost any car. The only thing that sucks with them is there isn't much support on the sides, so when you go around a corner you can slide around. HVAC controls are very simple, easy to use, your rear defroster, and then a radio which likes to turn itself up and down sometimes while driving down the road. And then you got your police insignia stuff right there for information, and then a couple of police holes in the dash. But overall, these cars are so comfortable to drive, and it also has power pedals, which is a rare feature even in today's world. But it is such a comfortable car to drive. Honestly, I've hopped into a lot of newer vehicles and whatnot, and still the Crown Vic is definitely my favorite car to ride in, whether passenger or driver. You cannot beat these seats going down the road. So this is going to be the spot that the Crown Vic wins in, even with its lack of features. But like I said, keep in mind, a lot of people buy those because of the lack of features and just how simple the vehicle is. I'm actually going to get the comfort level of 5 out of 5 because they are just so comfortable going down the road. I've gone on road trips for 5-6 hours before, and I still really don't feel that much after sitting down that long. Next up is going to be the handling topic. These cars are big. They're about 4,000 pounds. P71s are a bit lighter than an LX model, or civilian model, I should say. Handling's not that great, but it's also not bad either. It's a lot better than what you'd expect it to be. For a big old cop car like this, you'd think they'd be really, really shit handling, but they're not too bad. So I'm going to give the cars a 3.5 out of 5. Obviously, most new vehicles are going to be able to take it out handling wise, but it can still hold its own for what it is. So the car is going to get a 3.5 out of 5 here. Has a live rear axle in the back, which makes it kind of easy to work on compared to a lot of new cars and whatnot, but it also gives it allows it to struggle a little bit in the handling factor. So 3.5 out of 5 for this big V8 Crown Vic. Next thing we're going to talk about is the 4.6 liter V8 and the acceleration in these cars. Obviously, these are older style cars. They only have 250 horsepower from the factory, and obviously it goes down as the cars age after that. But overall, it can still do 0 to 60, or in my case, 0 to 100 kilometers in about 8.5 seconds, so not too bad. The LX models do them in about 9, so we're going to give the acceleration at 3.5 out of 5 as well. But I'll tell you one thing, they do sound pretty. One other thing people assume with these cars is they are absolutely horrendous on gas, which actually isn't the truth, albeit they're not a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic or a new car for that matter. But gas mileage on these actually isn't too bad. Even on the P71s, I've been averaging about 18 to 19 and a half mile per gallon, and out on the highway about 22. So P71s get worse mileage than an LX model or a counterpart, but I don't drive this car that much. It's my fun car. It gets stored in the winter, and I have my Corolla for my daily driver. But gas mileage, definitely not good by today's standards, so this is the spot where the car is really going to be sore at, is about 3 out of 5. So it's not awful gas mileage for what it is, but even newer V8s are able to get better gas mileage than that in today's world. But like I said, it's still not bad for a car that has not really seen too many updates since the 90s, or almost any updates at all since 2003. So like I said, guys, these are kind of things to keep in mind when buying a Crown Victoria. Would I suggest buying one? Hell yes, I would. They are great cars, great all-around cars. There's nothing that they super excel at besides on the comfort level, but there's nothing that is horrendous with them either. So they're great driving vehicles. I would highly suggest one. I'm gonna miss mine. And here's the undercarriage for those you're wondering, since a lot of it's sprayed off. That is not rust, it's actually old undercoat that you see. This car is in very clean condition for being an East Coast Nova Scotian car. Not very much rust at all, and that is very rare to see on a old car from Nova Scotia being 12 years old. So like I said, guys, I highly suggest getting one. Get one soon, because we're running out of time. You really are. And they have not been made now, for over 8 years, and finding a clean one is very hard to do. If I could suggest a mileage, I would suggest anywhere between 80,000 and under, but like I said, a lot of it really depends on condition. But I try and find one under 80,000 for your initial purchase, and then that way you can go quite a long time without any real problems, because once you start getting up to the 120, 130,000 mile marker, sometimes you might start thinking about the transmission or the intake manifold and stuff like that. This one's had the blend door actuator go on it, which I'll probably get replaced in the spring. But besides that, she's pretty much ready to go. She's ready for storage. There she is, but it'll be happy not seeing Salt this winter. So thank you guys very much. Hope you enjoyed this car, because you won't be seeing it again until probably about mid-April or late April. So thank you guys so much once again, and see you all in the spring. And before I leave you guys, I'll let you guys hear the nice startup of the V8. Hear that puppy roar. Nothing like a 4.6 liter V8 revving up. So see you guys later. I'm gonna miss this beast. I know some of you are gonna miss this beast. Go and buy yourself one if you've been thinking about it.